What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first 2025 edition of Drive for Show, DFS for Dough here on RotoGrinders. Happy to be back talking another year of daily fantasy golf. It always feels like the 1 month break over the holidays is like 3 or 4 months because we're so used to doing this each and every week. So welcome back. Another season is upon us. You've got the same usual suspects in the host chairs here tonight. That is, of course, myself, Justin Van Zuiden, STL Cardinals 84, the daily fantasy handle, and my partner, Mr. Notorious, Derek Farnsworth. Noto, how was your holiday season? How you been?
What's up? It's good to be back. Holidays were a lot of fun, other than the stomach bug making its round around my family and myself and everyone else. But yeah, it's been good. It was good to have some golf back last week, even though yeah, it's cold in my neck of the woods, but fun to watch. How did you end up doing last week? How were your holidays?
Yeah, holidays were nice. We, like many others, we went on a little weekend getaway up to Wisconsin before Christmas, and pretty much everybody got a little bug. We didn't get the stomach flu, but just got the upper respiratory stuff going on. But everybody's recovered now. Kids are back to school, so the routine. Getting back in the routine after a couple weeks of chaos, it helps settle you down a little bit. So happy for that to be back rolling, and of course for the golf to be back. Are you interested at all in this new TGL league that is debuting tonight? Not sure how much you followed it, how much you know going into it, but are you going to watch?
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you think this show or the TGL is going to do better ratings tonight? Might be close.
Yep.
I don't
Personally,
know.
I think if they put us on the major networks, maybe we can get the pull and beat them out. But yeah, I think, and it's not a bad spot, right? If you look at what the PGA Tour struggles with a lot, right? Just look at this week's event, for example. The PGA Tour is this week's event, Thursday through Sunday. Thursday, you've got a college football playoff semifinal. Friday, you've got a college football playoff semifinal. And Saturday and Sunday, you have the first round of the NFL playoffs. So the 4 days of this golf tournament are going to get little attention nationally for sure because you're competing with football. But now you've got this random, TGL event on a Tuesday night at 8 p.m. or whatever it is. And there's really nothing on. There's no football to compete with. And so, I think they've marketed it well that they can get some eyeballs on it tonight. I'm a little interested to see how it goes down with, basically playing on a simulator and real life short game. But I don't know. They seem confident that it's going to work.
As a golf fan, I sure hope it works. We need to get excited about something. I was just looking at their Twitter. So it's 3v3 tonight. And it's saying so Ricky Fowler and Shane Lowry will play holes 10 and 13. So it's only like a 6-hole match.
So it's 9 holes of alternate shot and then 6 holes of singles where each of the 3 players play 2 holes. So it's 15 holes.
Okay. I like they're filming the walk-ins with the outfits. I like that. Some of the guys could probably have done a better job, Xander especially, but I don't know. They're trying to make golf a little interesting. If Tiger plays, I'm sure I'll watch. He's obviously not playing tonight, but hopefully he's on a team, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. I looked at him this morning. I haven't done any deep dives in it, but you can bet on it if you're in a legal sports betting state. So it gives you something else to bet on if you want to do that. But we're not here to talk about that. We'll see how that goes down. I'm sure we will mention it throughout the year here. Maybe talk a little bit at the end of the show. Noto weaseled me into signing up for the Pat Mayo one and done contest this year. So
hey, if you take it down, you're welcome.
So apparently it's a $250 entry fee. Somehow on whatever platform it's on, I had $2, so I got a discount. I only had to pay $248 to get myself into it. But maybe we could talk one and done strategy. I know people have asked questions occasionally about that in the past, and a lot of one and done leagues are probably starting up here this week. But first and foremost, we have to make sure we discuss the Sony Open. We didn't do a show for you last week for the Century. It was a pretty small field tournament, although they have bumped that up to, I think we had about 60 last week. But Hideki Matsuyama ended up taking that down last week. with a huge score of 35 under par, I believe. Just big time numbers. There was some wind there the first day, but not much the other 3 days, and scores got really low. Yeah, 35 under for Hideki, 32 under for Morikawa, 29 under for Sungjae Im. Those three were pretty well clear of the field. So we did see the kind of the cream rise to the top, but every single golfer in the field, except Davis Riley, who withdrew after the third round, finished 3 under or better. So tons of scoring last week. I didn't play a whole lot of DFS. We were just getting back from the holidays, but Matsuyama took it down. Anything noteworthy for you as we head into this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's just unreal how good these guys are at golf. Even you mentioned the windy conditions the first day. It didn't matter. These guys came out and tore it up. There were 25 golfers, at least 20 under par. Like, that's just, it's ridiculous. I don't know. You go out there and shoot a 500 par round and you're losing strokes on the field. It's kind of crazy. But
I mean, 35 under par, you're playing 72 holes. Like, that's 9 under a round, basically. Every other hole, you're making a birdie.
I know. I don't know. They're so good. Obviously, the course has been the easiest on tour each of the last 5 years. Probably going to be the case again this year. But it's still fun to watch. I mean, I hear next year they might pull the what was the event in Texas, the Byron Nelson, where they just changed one of the par 5s to a par 4. I think they're going to do that next year. So maybe we'll get a winning score of 31 under instead of 35. But yeah, I still like watching it. Typically, we don't get a lot of good finishes on Sunday. For whatever reason, there have been a lot of runaway winners at this event. But yeah, Hideki's been awesome his whole career. I think this is his 11th win on the PGA Tour. And he's won a lot of big events too. And then Morikawa, man, he just keeps finishing top 5 in these events. So I think he's going to have a big year. But he was like well behind everyone else off the tee, which I kind of noticed on Sunday. Interested to see if he eventually starts to chase speed like everybody else.
Yeah, and we've seen that work with strong results for a lot of other guys. So in any case, we'll see how that pans out going forward. We do have quite a few of those guys in the field again this week for our first full field event of the year, which is the Sony Open. We've got 144 in the field this week. Still in Hawaii, so maybe the guys that played last week have a little bit of an edge, knocked the rust off last week, what have you. Heading into this week. And of course, the field last week was very strong. So most of the top end golfers are the guys that you're seeing teeing it up again this week. But another course that we've seen on tour for a long time, this tournament goes all the way back, I believe, to like the 60s. So course history abounds if you are into that sort of thing. What do you make of the venue this week? And do you like guys that played last week versus didn't?
Yeah, so in terms of similarities to last week, both these courses are in Hawaii, and that's about it. I mean, we had a par 73 that was 7,700 yards last week. It's a par 70, just over 7,000 yards. Definitely more of a technical course where the shorter, more accurate, more grinder types tend to have a lot of success here. We have seen the importance of driving accuracy go down at this event over the last few years, and we've seen some longer hitters have success. I don't know if that has to do with just everyone in the field being more aggressive off the tee. We've kind of seen that everywhere on tour the last couple of years. But yeah, fairways are pretty wide, 36 yards. The greens are pretty big, 7,100 square feet on average. They feature Bermuda. They're pretty easy to hit. Last year, golfers were able to hit 69% of the greens in regulation. And you don't have a lot of long irons here. Only 7% of approach shots are from over 200 yards, which is way different than what we've seen at a lot of courses, especially the ones that we'll get to here in the next month or two. So 70% of approach shots are going to be from 125 to 200. So a lot of wedges, a lot of mid irons. And yeah, it's kind of guys that are good approach players, guys that have good course history. It is pretty important. And then good Bermuda putters. Anything I left out on your end?
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty good synopsis. And of course, this is a par 70. So just 2 par 5s this week. So if you look at the good par 4 scorers, I think get a little bit of a boost. And the only par 5s on this course are the last holes on each 9. So the 9th hole and the 18th hole, everybody will finish with a par 5. I'm sure there will be plenty of tilting over, golfers who didn't make
I was going to say, yeah, I hate when there's a par 5 on the closing side, because then it always moves the cut. Like you always think, okay, maybe my guy has a chance. It's sitting on the cut line. Always moves. There's par fives.
or you need your guy to make a birdie and then he doesn't make a birdie on the par 5. They played as the 2 easiest holes on the course last year, and most years. The 9th, very short, averages almost a full stroke under par, and the 18th was about a half stroke under par. So going to need birdies on those holes. The 9th had 56 eagles as well. Again, they could probably, move the goalposts and make that a par 4 as well. But it's all relatively speaking in the grand scheme of things with scoring. So, all right, let's go ahead and dig into the player pool this week. Not a bad field, not the best we've ever seen, not the worst we've ever seen, but it is a full field golf tournament. And after some of the events that we saw in the fall, this field looks all right. So we've got last week's champ, and by the way, the defending champion of this tournament is Grayson Murray, who you may or may not know did tragically commit suicide later in 2024. So hopefully they honor his legacy nicely this week as the defending champion of this event. I've heard they got some stuff planned for that. So kudos to the tour, and hopefully they do a good job with that. But so Grayson Murray was the defending champ, obviously not in the field this time around, but still got some guys who played well last week. Matsuyama, of course, the winner, all the way up at 11K on DraftKings, and Connors is the only other golfer above 10,000. So the pricing really not that tight with a lot of golfers at the top this week. There's golfers in the 7Ks that we'll get to that are certainly rosterable, but with only 2 golfers above 10K, but Matsuyama all the way up at 11. I'm curious as to what you do with just these 2 guys here.
Yeah, so at the very top, one of the common strategies in DFS is just to fade the guy that won the previous week. And I used to be a big fan of that strategy. I would always say, you got to do it. But for me, it's more about who the golfer is. If it's a guy that's just winning first time on tour, that's out there, celebrating his win, partying, then I'm less likely to play him the very next week. But I mean, Hideki's been on tour for 11 or 12 years. I think he has 11 wins now. He was obviously planning to play this event regardless of how well he played last week. And he's won here before, so he clearly likes the course. This is a spot where I think I'm going to be overweight on Hideki, at least in MME. It's not like his price is all that expensive. When we see Scheffler, he's like in the 12s most of the time. So I do like Hideki. Certainly no issue with Connors. I think most of my lineups are probably going to start with one of the top 3. But you can play the 2 of these guys up here. I think there's decent enough options in the low 7s that I feel pretty comfortable playing 2 of the top 3 together. What about you?
Yeah, I don't mind any of them. With Matsuyama being an 11K, I'll probably be a little underweight just because I don't have a super strong take on him above the other guys, so I'll probably choose to save a little bit. Henley's my favorite. Always plays this course pretty well. He's a past champion here, though that's been a while. Still has a couple of other top 5s here the last 3 years. He played well towards the end of last year, was 4th at the Tour Championship. So, Henley is my guy, my favorite if I had to pick of the 3. I'll have some of Connors as well, probably be underweight on Hideki, but that's mainly just due to the price more than anything else. I think I'd just rather save a little bit with these other guys. But Henley and Connors will be in my player pool for sure. And you can maybe, even if you start with just one of those guys, then you can certainly get somebody else that's in the 9K range. We've got Tom Kim, Ryder Cup captain Keegan Bradley in here, Benny On, Robert McIntyre came on in the summer and fall of last year, McNeely, Tigala, lots of options in the 9Ks as well that you could maybe pair with one of those top 3 if you're interested in doing that. I don't have a strong take on this range. Like, I like Henley and Connors quite a bit more. So there's nobody really that stands out for me. Like, I'll probably sprinkle a few of these guys into lineups, but there's nobody I feel like I have to have. I suppose, Tom Kim, if I had to pick one, McIntyre for upside, but I can be talked into or out of most of these guys in the 9K range. Anybody you like better than me?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. That's why I like the idea of building lineups with 2 of the top 3, because everyone from 9,000 to 9,800 kind of feels overpriced to me. Course fit does seem great for Tom Kim. He's just one of those guys that, him and Minwoo Lee, maybe even Robert McIntyre, you can kind of throw in that same bucket, that they're more popular than their strokes gain data would lead you to believe. Like they're always higher owned than their projections say they should be. So I'm probably going to be underweight on them. Keegan lost in the playoff here last year. Benny On lost in the playoff here last year. That's one that still haunts me. Grayson, you mentioned one. He made a 30-footer, and then Benny On missed that 4-footer to keep the playoff going. Siwoo Kim's won here before. It's just a lot of guys that I'd rather play when they're in the 8s, I guess.
Yeah, I feel a touch overpriced, but there's ceiling for these guys, right? If Benyon makes enough putts, McIntyre has been boomer bust for most of his career. He missed a lot of cuts last year, but also had, like the most top 10s out of this group. Tigala, you kind of never know, when and where he's going to play well. So I like the ceiling on these guys. But in cash games, I'd probably just go like Connors Henley and then move down, below 9K for your third option. Plenty of good golfers in the 7s and 8s to help round out that lineup, like you mentioned. In GPPs, I'm more apt to, throw a few of these guys in because certainly one of these guys could win the tournament, but you're just getting a little bit more boomer bust in this range than what you would normally see with golfers in the 9Ks, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you know what's annoying is I played Matt McNeely probably 15 tournaments in a row at one point last year, and then just got off him because the win never came. Now, last 4 tournaments, 6th, 17th, a win, and an 8th, and I just haven't played him, in any of those starts. So maybe we should continue that good form. He's 3 for 3 here too. He's probably my favorite of the bunch, but I just don't have a strong take on anybody.
Yeah, I don't mind him. I probably, especially if you're looking for safety or you're basing current form, you're giving a little bit more weight to current form. I don't mind the call. So McNeely in that mix as well at 9,200. All right, let's go down to the 8s where I think, this is probably where I will include quite a few more players in my player pool. I don't see a whole lot of difference between these guys and some of the guys that are priced $600-$800 above them. JT Poston is always a guy that can get super hot with the putter. We've seen some upside from him. If that ownership is correct on Taylor Pendrith, he's probably my favorite play of the week. Right now, we've got Pendrith at like 9%. I think that's probably low. I think our projection on him is kind of low. But, he's been playing solid golf as well. And 7 straight top 25s dating back to the fall and late summer of last year. So really like Pendrith at 8,800. He's a cornerstone guy for me this week. But there's other guys that we've seen upside from: Eckroat, Kitayama, Davis Thompson, Clanton, who's still an amateur with some upside. So what are you looking at here in the middle to upper 8Ks?
Yeah, I'm with you. Love Taylor Pendrith. So if you look at his stats, he's kind of known as a bomber, but his 2 biggest strengths are on approach and putting, and that really plays well here. Finished T10 here. You mentioned his form too, 7 straight top 25s. I think he has top 25s in 9 of 12 events. Hasn't missed a cut during that stretch. So I'm with you on Pendrith. I do think we're a little light on the ownership. Ended up being real popular last week and played well. Had the Albatross on Sunday, which was cool. And then I don't love anybody.
Which he said, I believe, was the 8th of his life. Now, that's what he said. That's what came out of Pendrith's mouth. But I don't know. Are you playing on are you including like a Muni course that has like a 410-yard par 5 or something, and you cupped a 190-yard approach stop? But he said he's got 8 albatrosses and 3 holes in one in his life.
What?
I don't know. That's what he said, and it's directly out of the player's mouth. But anyway.
Huh, that's wild. But yeah,
I don't sidetrack you. I'm sorry.
I don't love anyone else till we get to the lower range. Mentioned Luke Clanton. The dude's just been awesome. So he's finished in the top 5% of the field he's played in 40% of the time. Obviously, it's a very small sample size, but when he shows up, he tends to play well. Finished second his last time out. Love Ben Griffin. Anytime we get him on a short par 70, he's a guy I like to play. He's had 5 top 25s in his last 6 starts, and he's played a ton during the fall, so we don't have to worry about him having any rust or anything. He's also 2 for 2 here with the 30th and a 12th. I like Harry Hall. He's been playing some great golf. He had good form in the fall and then finished top 10 last week. He's also good course history guy. Then Seth Straka, just kind of ride the form with him. Sometimes he is in good form, sometimes he's not. T15 last week was enough for me. So I'll play some Straka as well. So I kind of like Pendrith at the top and then the 4 guys there at the bottom.
Yeah, I think the bottom of the range is super interesting. Probably no Harmon for me when you take out Riley. He was dead last week, so even though he's Noto's boy in the past, we'll pass on Harmon for me this week. But I like Griffin, Hall, and Straka, and particularly Hall. I think this is probably going to be a breakout year for him. He was 5th, I believe, from tee to green in last week's field, so and ended up finishing 8th despite basically being neutral with the putter. So, and we saw him play well late in 2024 also. So I think at 8,100, some people might get a little scared away by the salary tag there, and hopefully that helps keep ownership in check just a little bit. But and Griffin would be another pick that I think you can play from that range. And most of my lineups will probably have 1 or 2 guys from the 8Ks here. I mentioned, if you take Pendrith and Hall is probably my number 1 combo if you're looking for 2 guys in there, but plenty of different options in the 8Ks. All right, let's go ahead and all right, let's do this now because I teased it a little bit ago, and I think this is a good time to talk about the one and done strategy because I think if you're in a one and done league, and if you're not familiar, basically you take a player for a specific week, and then you cannot use him again the rest of the season, and you get quote unquote earnings that match what the player earns in that tournament. So obviously you want to save the bigger golfers for the majors, the elevated events, what have you. But you're also not going to have to play like a 7K golfer in DFS parlance. You're not going to have to play that guy at all in a one and done league. So I think a strategy that a lot of people make is they, will see a lower tier event and they'll play, somebody like, and this is no offense to any of these guys, but they'll play somebody like JJ Spawn in a one and done. But you never have to dig that deep for the entire season because you're only using, 45 golfers or whatever it is over the course of the year. So you've done these in the past more than I have. How far out do you kind of like plan out a strategy? Is it just kind of a weekly whim thing? How serious? This is my first time doing the official one for cash. Like, do I need to make a spreadsheet and try to plan out 40 weeks right now? What do I need to do to prepare for this challenge here?
So yeah, a lot of people do like save certain golfers for certain events, like Tony Finau at the 3M, or you go through and pick out your major winners ahead of time so you know not to use them before then. But I don't know. I don't have that much of a strategy. I've only cashed in it once. It was last year, so coming off my best year, I will say that.
You're an expert now.
But yeah, I generally look to the favorites. I probably wouldn't target anybody outside of the top 15 in your rankings here in the early part of the season. Now once you get like halfway through the season, you can kind of see where you're at in the standings, see if you need to make big moves. At that point, you can start taking more chances with guys down the board a little bit. But to your point, you don't want to target like the 30th best golfer in the field. You want to wait until he's in a really bad field, and then you can play him at the Bermuda or something like that. But now that we knocked on JJ Spawn,
I literally just picked a name. I mean, I picked a name. It was no slight at JJ Spawn intentionally. It could have just I could have just as easily said somebody else, but
put a small wager on his outright this week.
Spawn to win probably pays pretty well, I would imagine, this week. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not going super deep, so like I'm a big fan of Taylor Pendrith this week, but I don't know, like I'm probably never going to need to use Taylor Pendrith, so I don't, it probably doesn't have to be that deep. So
he'll be like the favorite in a couple of events, like the Texas one he won last year. So you could play anyone really. I think I'm using Henley just because we know he loves the course, but there's like 3 courses he really loves. So yeah, I mean, anybody near the top that feels safe that could win, I think is your best way to look at it.
So that's who I put in for now as well, was Henley. So we'll have the same score probably after this week, or we'll just have nothing when he, misses cut. But was there? You see, you mentioned you cashed last year for the first time. Was there a particularly bad beat along the way? Was there a withdraw or anything that knocked you back?
No, the most impressive part, I didn't miss a week. I usually forget about a pick like 3 weeks into the year, and then I'm already behind the 8 ball. So didn't have that happen last year. You can actually set it up so it'll text you a reminder every week about your pick, which is nice. But yeah, I got off to a super hot start. I think I was in the top 100 for the first 6 months, and then just didn't get anything going the rest of the year. So just kind of held on to a min cash, nothing special.
Well, we can just talk about it on here every week, and then I'll remember to make my pick because I can do it during the show. But all right, Henley, the official pick of us this week, so you can fade it if you want, for sure. If we're offering the bad karma. All right, let's get back to the DFS streets here and move down into heading into the 7Ks. This is generally the spot where you get lots of names that are rosterable. Ownership starts to spread out a little bit. There are a ton of golfers between like 7K and 7,500 this week. There is very little to get super excited about under 7K. And remember, we mentioned at the top of the show that there's only 2 golfers above 10,000 on the entire board. So you don't need to go into the 6Ks this week. It is absolutely not necessary. If Noto has a play or two when we get in there, we can mention it. But the 7Ks is probably where you're going to make hay in terms of the guys you like for values. We'll kind of split it up here and talk about 7,500 and up to start. What are you looking at in there to round out your lineups?
Yeah, favorite play is Derek Cole. Anytime you get him on an easy course, he's one of the best. He's second in this field in stroke gain on short par 70s over the last 2 years, and he just makes a ton of birdies. So if he makes a cut, he's going to outscore his finishing position. 7,500, less than 10% ownership sounds pretty good to me. Don't mind looking to Cam Davis. He doesn't project that well for me, but he's one of those guys that has his favorite courses, and he's finished 232 or better at this event 5 straight years. He also played last week, finished 213. I like that combo of form and course history a little bit. Don't mind Billy Horschel. Tom Hoagie played pretty well last week. He's a good iron player. If you want the putters, you can look to English and McCarthy. But I think Cole and Cam Davis are going to be my staples here.
Yeah, I think Cole makes a lot of sense. Berger also, I can't do it yet, but we did see some flashes from him during the fall. It's just so up and down. Hoagie is my favorite in the upper part of the 7K range. Certainly can get on board with being a scorer when he needs to be. He tends to play here every year. Right now we've got him at 5% ownership. The course history is a little up and down, but I'll certainly play him at 5%, over Hughes or Horschel at higher ownership, at least based on what we have projected right now. Don't think McCarty's a bad GPP flyer either, but Hoagie definitely my favorite in the 7.5K range. All right, I'm going to try to open up the YouTube here just to make sure if we've got anybody else chatting or asking anything. Sometimes when I do this, my microphone tends to go absolutely haywire, robot mode or shrieking. So TJ, who's producing, can happily mute me and I'll rejoin if I go haywire. But it almost always happens when I pull open the YouTube stream. So advanced heads up, turn your volume down if you're afraid of it. But what I'm curious about is if we have enough people to try to swing a 6-man snake draft tonight to close out the show. Happy to help coordinate that. So if you're interested in doing the snake draft and you're watching us on YouTube, we'll probably be able to get that rolling here in the next 5 minutes to round out the show. So drop a message if you're interested in joining so that we're not maybe wasting time if there's not enough people to do it. So for that reason, I'm going to open the chat now, but let's go ahead and move while we're waiting for people to respond to the lower part of the 7K range. I've seen some buzz on Lucas Glover this week. A couple guys that I like in the lower part of the 7Ks. I like our DFS darling, Mr. Yeager, who did not close the year as well as he played, at the start of it. But he was also like 9K at that point, and now 7,400. Nobody's playing Yeager now. I like him. I think our ownership is a little bit low on Andrew Novak. He projects out pretty well for me as well. I know a couple people on our RotoGrinders team like him this week. So Jaeger at 74, Novak at 74, Doug Gim if you want to go on team no putt, Keith Mitchell if you want to go on team risk reward. I seem to always get him wrong. So Nick Dunlap is a guy I tend to play a lot. So I love the ceiling for some of these guys in the lower 7Ks. You know, you sneak a top 10 out of here and you're looking pretty good. So what are you liking to round things out?
Well, I would love to play Keith Mitchell this week, but I need to get your blessing first.
I always get him wrong. So no, don't play Keith Mitchell. There you go. Now you're good to go.
Because you were off of him. I kept being like, oh, this is
I
a
know.
great weekend. He's missed like 5 cuts in a row.
I was on him for the couple weeks that, you know, he ended up getting some buzz. And then 1 week I didn't play him. He did well. I haven't got him right for a while, so I have to revoke his status as my boy here because I just can't get him right. So no hard feelings, but yeah, I've missed on Mitchell for a while now.
Yeah, for every reason the model still loves him, even though he's been terrible. I don't know. I like Doug Gim. I like Lucas Glover. I like Patrick Rogers a little bit. He's been really consistent in the fall, and 2 for 2 here. Mentioned Novak. I think he'll be popular. Putnam's always a guy that I use on these shorter courses. Yeah, we got to play JJ Spawn now. He's going to be extra motivated after that comment. After reading those comments,
He's got the locker room fodder. He's ready to go put the helmet on and he's gonna take a dummy of me and just run me over this week. That's okay.
Yeah, he's going to have your quote and then STL Cardinals posted right up on his locker. Okay, looks like TJ wants to join and 2 others.
Yeah, we got a couple people getting rolling. So, yeah, we're going to do a snake draft here. Let me get one fired up. And once we get that filled up, I will take over the screen share for that. Or I guess if TJ's in the draft, he can keep screen sharing. Doesn't matter to me. But, all right, so how we do this? Go to DraftKings, filter golf, snake draft, and we try to find 6-man. There's a 6-man now that's $5 6-man. That's 1 of 6, or a $10 that's empty. I don't like the ones that are 1 of 6 because that usually means we got a squatter in there. And I don't recognize the name of the person that's in there. So if we pony up $10, I'm forcing Noto to pony up $10 because he made me spend $250 on the Mayo, the one and done. So
if one of us win this one and done, $100K, let's do a giveaway.
So there's a $10. There you go. That's fine. There's a $10 that's now 1 of 6. I'm going to join here. I'll be 2 of 6. And
it's
I think
also a $5 3 of 12. I know you like.
No, I'm not doing no 12 tonight. Not with 3 in there. 3 squatters and a 12-man. I know you were joking before the show that we could just stay on air until Thursday morning, but no, I can't. We can't go right out of the gate with the 12. We got to work our way. Like the first 12 can be like the players or something. And TJ, I think you're good to join because it was Noto, me, a couple people in the YouTube chat said yeah, and then we usually maybe get one person that finds their way in, so we'll be good. You can join up. All right, we're at 5 of 6 now. One more person to hop in there, and we will be good to go.
Should we hit up the 6K range real quick? Oh, we're filled. Nice.
Yeah, go for it. Anybody you like in there? We got the last 2 picks, so we got some time to kill. But Maddie Schmid, if I had to throw a name out there, but I don't like a whole lot.
Chan Kim was the guy that I played a lot in the summer. 6,900 for him. And then Ben Silverman, really good on short courses. T18 year last year. I don't think you need either of these guys, but I might have a little bit of exposure to them.
All right, we are all filled up. And TJ's got the second pick starting in about a minute here.
EVRs in the 6Ks?
How the mighty have fallen.
That was fast.
Yeah, it was fast.
He's down there. Schmid was real good for a while there.
Yeah, he had some. I mean, the obviously has dipped lately, but you're not finding a guy that's been peppering top 10s in the 6Ks. So we've seen form from Schmid and Schenk and Smalley in the past, but just hasn't been consistent enough. All right. I will attempt to share my screen for the draft here. We'll see how that goes.
Got some new names.
Yeah, shout out if I know Brian Green and Mr. Workbench in the YouTube chat were.
My DraftKings account balance doesn't look as nice as yours right now, Cards, and so that's why I couldn't share mine.
Good, that's fine. I'll share mine. It's pretty good late December, so we're looking okay at the moment. So did plenty of them in December where that was looking pretty lean. All right, Scotty Bean with the first pick. I don't really like picking at the end this week. I don't have a preference between 6 and 10, so.
Yeah, 1 through 3 is fine with me.
1, 2, 3 is pretty obvious, I think. From there, just kind of whatever. And I got to pick twice in a row here, so I got to stay on the ball.
If I win, do I get to co-host with you guys next week?
Oh, if you win, you got to pay royalties and all that too.
I mean, yeah, if you lose, you have to co-host with us.
It's a punishment, it's a punishment on this show, not a reward.
It's my pick. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
missed Pendrith. Whoops.
Oh man, I did too. I probably would have taken them there. See, that's what we're rusty. That's why we're blowing an extra $5.
We are weekly donators to the snake drafts.
That's all right though. I entered this with crowns, so joke's on everybody else. I got free entry.
Brag
enough crowns.
Enough crowns for $10.
See, there's people that save up their crown. Like, are you a crown saver or?
So I save them up until I have a cold streak, and then it's like, I should probably play this week for free,
So okay, so it's there's people that'll build up like 1 million crowns. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing with 1 million crowns? Time value of money. You gotta.
I missed Onyx by 3,000 credits. I'm not happy about it.
TJ, do you hoard your crowns?
I did at some points, and then I haven't been recently. I think I got the crowds up over a couple 100,000 before, but right now it's only at 5,000, something like that.
Okay.
Oh shoot, I'm on the clock, hey?
Yeah, sorry. This tends to happen. We've missed picks before, so I get sidetracked. Got to talk about something. So today was crowns.
Win this thing. This is easy.
Do a Black Friday sale on the gift cards with the crowns.
Now, see that I can get behind. If you're doing that, and
save
that's
them
your
up all year and just get $2,000 of gift
That's
cards.
the only rationale for saving the crowns.
I know. It was smart, and I never did it. Okay.
All right. Harry Hall. Oof. I do not like this next range here. I'm going to go with Hokie because I wrote him up.
Gotta take Harmon. Not a principal.
On brand. Harmon. See if we can get things started the right way. I went through a 3-month spell at the beginning of last year where I didn't cash in any of these.
Then we did.
I don't know. I think you fared a little better than me during that stretch, but I remember the beginning of the year was the worst. So the good news is, though, after this week, my ROI is either going to be positive or zero because of said entry fee being using the crown. So
Nice.
P&L is going to look sharp. So already just 2 picks left, and it goes so fast when we don't have a squatter taking up the whole clock intention.
Just going through exclusively picking tagged guys in Line of HQ.
It's fine. Hopefully. Hopefully it works.
All right.
Might run out of tagged guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jaeger. And I'll go Burger in this format for a YOLO pick. Noto, what's your take on the NFL playoffs?
I'm excited. How much are your Ravens going to win by?
Man, I am so tired every year of the Ravens like playing elite football heading into the playoffs, and then they do something stupid. Like last year in the AFC Championship, they ran the ball like 6 times for the whole game, and then they just look unbeatable, and then they do something stupid in the playoffs. So I'd be super tilted if they lose to Russell Wilson, especially with how the Steelers have been playing. I think they're favored by 10 now, which scares me. But
no, they'll run through this one. I think Henry will help.
Should help. TJ, you're probably out of tagged guys.
This is gonna be tough. Oh, and I think my pick that I was gonna pick just went last. Shoot. What do I do?
You're gonna get McCarty in 2 seconds.
Well,
you did get you got him whether you want him or not.
He's
it's
a
not
lefty.
not a lineup killer. Plus, you get a bench spot. Only 6 of your 7 guys.
Is that Denny McCarthy?
Nope. There's a lot of guys with similar names.
The guy projected for 47 points.
Projections are relative.
He's made like 8 starts, but he won one of them. So the upside's there.
There you go. The draft is complete. We look forward to starting our journey of snake drafts. Team RG with half the entries this week. Can't wait to see us finish 4, 5, 6. But Tug Rules has the crown. He usually tends to dominate these. So, but always fun to get some chatter at the end of the show. Of course, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We generally go live around 7:15 Eastern most Tuesdays. Some nights we got to push it back a little bit if there's conflicts or late NBA lock. But if you're new, live 7:15 Eastern on Tuesdays, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can know whenever we're going live. Of course, you can watch this on playback as well anytime leading up to lock. But do appreciate those of you hanging out with us, drafting with us, and we'll be here all season long. So, Noto, anything else before we duck out of here?
It's good to be back, and every Tuesday, same time. Let's
all right.
A big year, huh?
Absolutely. Thanks to TJ for producing behind the scenes for us tonight. And for Noto, I am Justin. We'll catch you back here next Tuesday. Good luck in all your contests, everybody, and we will see you later.